Well, it's time to get your legal questions answered. Here to share his expertise, as always, is Jason Nicks. And of course, he joins us every Thursday. And if you want a legal question answered, all you have to do is go to our Facebook page, KBTV or KFDM, and we'll answer your questions. Okay, now the first one is, a money order that I paid my rent with was fraudulently endorsed. What is the quickest, easiest way to go about getting my money back? Then there's a second part of the question. I have a copy of the cash money order. The pay that I wrote it in clearly scratched through, and a grocery store name is written in. The person who signed it used a fake DL number and fake phone number. It is obviously altered.
Well, the first thing I would say to that question is it sounds like she already paid her rent, which hopefully she has a receipt for that. Once it's in the custody of that management group that owns that property, if someone stole it from them and then altered it, they can't go back and tell her, hey, you still have to pay it, you know, someone stole it. So if that's the case, and she needs to contact the management of that property and say that that's their problem, she's already paid her rent. If it's not the case, if she made it out for them, and then it was stolen before she could actually pay her rent with it, which is what it could be as well, she needs to contact the police and file a report on that. You know, there's really good detectives that the Beaumont Police Department has that can investigate that crime, because that's a pretty serious crime. I mean, it sounds like even though it wasn't done very well, they've still left a little bit of a track, and someone can investigate that from the Beaumont Police Department. You
know, and I'm thinking, too, that it should be an easier way to track it down, and that's the whole reason why it is a money order instead of cash.
Absolutely, and the number one thing I would tell her with that kind of a situation is she doesn't have the resources that the police department has in order to investigate that. They can go and talk to that grocery store that cashed that check. There may be surveillance video. That person may have had to sign something. So, you know, maybe even though they gave a fake driver's license, maybe they possibly gave a real name to sign with. So there's more resources available to the police department than to her. So if that's what the situation is, she needs to go file a report and give all the information that she listed to us that she has to the detectives for them to properly investigate it.
You know, one thing also to point out is that the sooner the better, because a lot of times those surveillance video, they may only keep it for a week.
Yeah,
so
and it'll record over itself is what most of those systems do, and sometimes they don't even keep them for more than 48 or 72 hours. So I would tell her to actually go as quickly as possible.
Okay, so is possession 9/10 of the law?
This is a movie myth. We get this kind of question all the time. Actually, I got it yesterday in a consultation as well. It's a myth. Possession in Texas is actual care, custody, control, or management for possession. Now, obviously, if something's in my hand and it's an illegal product and a cop comes up on me, it's pretty damning evidence, so to speak, if it's in my hand, you know, to prove that I'm not possessing it if I'm holding it. But there are situations where that can be the case, believe it or not. You know, just because you pick something up doesn't actually mean it's your possession.
Absolutely.
People see something on the ground all the time, they pick it up, you know, someone could be looking for it. Doesn't mean you're actually possessing it at that point.
Or someone could ask you to hold something for them as well.
Absolutely, but the 9/10 of the law is just a myth. It traces back to there's some times in Rome. I believe there was a Hatfield and McCoy story about 9/10 of the law, but in Texas, possession is actual care, custody, control, or management of something.
And it sounds like that's one of those situations where if you are charged with something like possession, you definitely want to get a lawyer because, you know, you never know. You might be, you know, some types of loopholes that you can talk to somebody. Okay, I got pulled over and the officer got weed, had weed in the glove box. It's my car, but it's not my weed. Can they arrest me?
First thing is I would ask is, why are they searching your vehicle? Did you give them permission to search, or did they have probable cause to search? So I would first look at the search issue to make sure the search was good. The second thing I would ask if someone asked me this question is, was there anyone else in the car?
Yes.
Were you alone? Had you lent your car out recently to someone else? Do you share that vehicle with someone else? But obviously, if it's your car, you might be looking at an uphill battle, because you have to remember that the standard to arrest someone is significantly lower than to convict them. It's not a very high standard to actually arrest somebody, but to convict them of possession, they have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, which is obviously the highest burden that you can have in the law. It's even higher than taking someone's kids away from them. So yes, you're probably looking at an arrest based on the very little information we have, but it doesn't necessarily mean a conviction.
All right. Well, as always, thank you so much, Attorney Nicks. And of course, like I said, you can go to our Facebook page if you would like to get a question answered.